Commissioners. This is Tuesday, September 19, 2017. I'm Commissioner Bud Blake, the chair of the board this year. I'd like to start off by doing introductions. To my left, you have Commissioner Gary Edwards. To my right is Commissioner John Hutchings. To his right is Labadina Bomar, clerk of the board. And to her right is the Ramiro Chavez, the county manager. And to his right is Robin Campbell, the assistant county manager. With that in mind, I'll ask Commissioner Gary Edwards to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
And I in turn am going to ask Kelsey Holst to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Commissioner. Friends, please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Kelsey.
Thank you, Kelsey. Okay, so is there approval for today's agenda?
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the agenda for September 19, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved and second to approve today's agenda for September 19, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and so that motion carries. The board meeting minutes for 29 August 2017.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve the board meeting minutes of September 19, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved to approve.
Nope, I'm sorry. And the meeting minutes of August 29, 2017.
Oh, sorry. Second.
It's been moved and second to approve the board meeting minutes for August 29, 2017. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion carries as well. So we'll start off today's program by a presentation from Public Works. And Mr. Scott Lindblom is going to come up here and give a background on just, is it new employees today?
It is new employees. Excuse me. Thank you for your time, Commissioners. I'm Scott Lindblom, the Interim Public Works Director, and it is my great pleasure today to introduce some of our newest staff down at Public Works. Some of these folks have been here for the past couple months. Some of them started as early as last week. But what I'd like to do is just have them come up when I call their name, and I will give you a little brief background on them, starting out with Mike English. Mike started with us in June of this year. He was a lumber mill worker that received training for a new career in surveying as part of the Displaced Timber Worker Program. His background is perfectly suited to work in public works. He spent about 16 years with Lewis County Public Works and a few years prior to that with private consulting firm. One of his jobs at the county is to review construction plans as a construction inspector. He reviews those with a fine-tooth comb and a surveyor's eye for detail. This helps our projects get designed or built as designed, on schedule, and within budget. So there's Mike.
Hello, Mike.
Jordan Everson is. Jordan didn't quite stay right up here if you like. Jordan didn't quite make it, but he's an assistant maintenance tech with our road operations. He's been with the drainage crew since July of this year. Does a variety of work to keep our roads in good condition and protects our streams and waters from pollution. His main job is to provide manual labor assistance with stormwater BMP installation, digging and raking asphalt and flagging, and he came to us from the DOT. Now the next two guys, Greg and Henry, protect our streams and water also from pollution, protect our roads, and help keep private property from flooding. So Greg Kessel was hired in the position on September 11th, just last week. He works as a team with Henry maintaining our stormwater ponds, which helps us also keep in compliance with our NPDES permit. Greg worked as a seasonal for the Parks Department prior to that, and before coming to the county, he worked quite a few years with the Fire Department. And Henry worked for maintenance as a seasonal flagger prior to this stint now, and in July of this year, he was hired into the flagger laborer position. His main duty is vegetation management with the county's stormwater ponds. And he also worked many years in the lumber industry as well. And Joaquin Trejo and David, they're also responsible for helping keep our road crews and the public safe in construction zones. Joaquin couldn't make it, but he's been with the drainage crew since December or June of this year. His main function is to provide traffic control, again, to make sure that our workers and our employees stay safe and make sure the traveling public stays safe. He came to us from the private sector where he was a flagger. And David Kleiss Marvin, he started in June. His primary duties, again, are traffic control flagging and maintenance of traffic signs and markings. In fact, He came in this afternoon from cleaning stop signs, which is one of those important things we have to do to make sure we can all see the signs, we can stop in time, and that indirectly and sometimes directly can help save lives. Michael Murphy is coming up there. He's with our Noxious Weed program. Mike began work as a weed technician for the Noxious Weed and Lakes programs. And prior to that, he served as a seasonal weed inspector this season and recently acted as a consultant for the United States Forest Service. He's got a master's degree in forest resources from the University of Georgia, close to but not quite to Alabama. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was about to get you.
Some of Mike's primary duties are to notify and educate the citizens of Thurston County as to the effects of the noxious weeds, also serve as a primary role in the eradication of the noxious weeds in the county in our river systems. And Craig Season started work in Public Works in August of this year. He's leading the Real Estate Services team and represents Public Works when working with private property owners on some of our road projects. Just to give you some context of what that means, on a typical road project, Craig and his team might have to work with, say, 10 to 40 individual private property owners in the right-of-way negotiation stage. And that's for one project. So keep in mind, we've got several projects going on that span a few years. So keeping all those folks straight is a Herculean task that certainly Craig and his crew are up to. And it's a challenge, but they do a bang-up job. He came to us with over 20 years' experience with the DOT. And a few years prior to that, education in elementary, middle, and high school. He's a graduate of North Thurston High School, and he, in his spare time, what spare time he has, he's a youth football coach. Been doing that for 12 years for both the Capital Cougars and the North Thurston Rams. I'm not sure how that really worked out. And finally, Bill Richardson. Bill is a civil engineer in our program, or associate civil engineer. Started work in July. He works in the design section, designing our capital projects. For instance, the Mullen Road project is one he's working on. And Bill was also involved with the recent Beaver Creek Bridge project. He's another recruit we had from WashDOT. And prior to his time at WashDOT, he spent a few years traveling the U.S. and the world with the Washington Generals playing against the Harlem Globetrotters.
Oh, wow.
So with that, I welcome all these folks to Public Works and introduce them to you. Thank you for your time.
You bet. Doggone. That's great. I'll ask if they want to.
Well, besides, I'll give him a hand here in just a minute, but is Bill going to fix that railroad underpass thing for a little bit?
He might want to. He can't fit.
Can't fit.
Anyway, I'd like to welcome all of you because we are a team, no matter where we're sitting. Up here, over there, right where you are. We can't do it without you, and thank you very much for coming to work for Thurston County. I think you'll find it's a great place to work and a great place to live.
Yeah, anything?
Okay, then. Did you say everything I was going to say? You're Greg? You're Henry. And you came from the fire service?
No, he came from.
Oh, did you guys change places or something?
We got a mic on each end. Greg and
Good
Craig.
grief. Okay. And, but now you're going to, so what do you do now?
Working with the stormwater.
Okay. Probably quite a bit safer. Yeah. Well, welcome to all you gentlemen. Greatly appreciate you coming here and making a wise decision. Great career choice. You're part of a great organization. We'll take care of you. And you take care of us.
Yeah, if I could just add, welcome aboard. Thank you so much for applying and coming here because we need you, because we know that you make the difference in the constituents out there, and they're making their lives better, no matter if it's real estate, roads, bridges, whatever. Public Works, we got the best in the state, and I really, really am happy to have you aboard. Although we could talk about the Georgia Bulldogs a little bit and see how that works, but Alabama Roll Tide. So thank you.
Someone just came in.
Oh,
came
more.
Who's that, Scott?
We got some help.
All right, just in time. All right, got our.
Oh, we got a Marine.
Come on up, guys. You want to introduce yourselves to the commissioners? This is Joaquin Trejo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's one of those folks that help us with the flagging, keep our crews safe and our and the traveling public safe in our work zones. And got
Good, it's
Jordan.
not just me.
Oh, I already read it. Okay. Yeah, Jordan is with our drainage crew as well. Jordan started in July. He's also working with as a flagger laborer, doing BMP installation, raking asphalt, keeping our roads safe, and again, the stormwater in our community safe as well. So, welcome to these guys too.
Welcome aboard, everybody.
There you go. Commissioners.
Oh, we're gonna get a photo? We can go down there. Come on up here, guys. Like a horseshoe.
We're gonna get.
Now you're gonna have to scooch in.
Come on over. Stand in front of you guys.
Tall in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
All righty. It's always great to have new people on board. So the next item we have for today's agenda is the opportunity for the public to address the board. And I'll just walk through the house rules, if you will. You see on the wall over here to my left, your right, is the clock, and it counts down from 3 minutes to 0 minutes. And at the end of 0, you'll hear this little buzzer sound. That means you finish your thoughts. However, if you're mid-thought, midstream, going, I'll let you finish, but I'll start asking you to kind of close it up and wrap it up at that point in time. So what you do is when you signed in, do it first come, first serve. I'll just go down the list. And for those who in the audience have changed their mind or wish to come up here after, I'll just give you one more chance. So I'll ask in general if you would like to come up. So here we have Esther Kernersberg is the first person. And so just kind of tell me where you're from in the county and repeat your name for me.
Hi.
Hi, Esther. It's good to see you again.
Cooper Point Road.
You
area.
bet.
Hi. I don't know if you got a chance to check your emails, but I sent you all an email. and
Okay,
this is
I'm
it.
anxiously waiting to read it.
Dear
Go ahead.
Commissioners, kudos to you for adopting water quality protections for Henderson Inlet. How wonderful that the county has recognized the effectiveness of the septic system management program that was instituted in 2007 in response to the contamination of shellfish harvesting sites. As you know, the program combined inspections and maintenance of septic systems with public awareness and education to allow residents to monitor their septics, not only to contribute to the overall health of Henderson Inlet, but also to avoid costly repairs to failed septic systems. Most people understand their own health is inextricably linked to the purity of their water and are willing to pay a reasonable fee to ensure the safety and well-being of their families and neighbors. The success of this management system is a model of what we can do for the rest of the county. Though one size does not fit all, and not all areas of the county face the same environmental challenges as those living close to shore, the role of an educated and informed public cannot be minimized. Septics do leak, and homeowners may be unaware. Most people think that unless a septic backs up, it's functional, but this is erroneous. Leaks can often go undetected, polluting our groundwater and further deteriorating the septic system until it needs expensive repairs. But if people know how to inspect their system, for example, by looking for low liquid levels, they can be proactive and take steps to repair the system in time to avoid major consequences for themselves and their neighbors. Let's help our neighbors avoid costly repairs and make inspections and maintenance common sense policy. And for those with failed systems, the county now has a low-interest loan program to help homeowners fix them. I know you all recognize the crucial importance of clean water for our environment and our society. It's the fundamental basis of public health and our civic identity. In your dual role as stewards of the Department of Resources and the Department of Health, I look forward to you extending equivalent protections operating at Henderson Inlet to our underground aquifers throughout the county. Let's empower our neighbors to become responsible stewards through a program of education and inspections. Thurston County deserves no less. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you for your words there, Esther. All right, so the next person I have is Kelsey Hulse. And did I say that right, the last name?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Rhymes with pulse.
There you go. Oh, that's a good way to remember that.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You got the floor.
Good afternoon, commissioners and staff. My name is Kelsey Hulse, and I am your local government affairs representative with Puget Sound Energy. So I'm just stopping by today to update you on the general rate case that was filed by Puget Sound Energy and was also the subject of a recent public hearing that took place just around the corner here at the UTC. So on Friday, Puget Sound Energy announced a partial settlement in that rate case, filed with the Washington UTC, the Utilities and Transportation Commission. In total, 8 parties have joined PSC and UTC staff in the settlement agreement, including the Sierra Club and the state of Montana. I've emailed Mr. Chavez a copy of our press release on the agreement, which I assume he will share with whomever might be interested. But if approved, the settlement will allow for the following, along with some other key provisions. But first, it'll establish new rates for PSE customers. So on the electric side, customers will see approximately a 1% increase in their rates. And on the gas side, they'll see approximately a 4% decrease. It will help PSE pave the path to a cleaner energy future that our customers want and are demanding. It will establish a financing mechanism and set aside funding for the decommissioning and cleanup costs of PSE's coal-fired power plant in Colstrip, Montana. And it will create, and I think this might be interesting in particular to you guys, but we'll create a $10 million fund to help the community of Colstrip transition as coal becomes a smaller part of PSE's portfolio. So that fund will focus on economic development and worker retraining. The settlement is a testament and reflection of the hard work and collaborative effort of all those stakeholders and that ultimately signed on to that final agreement. So that's all I've got for you, unless you guys have any questions for me.
Just one, you have a holding in Montana, and it's in Colstrip,
Correct.
Montana, and it's going to close? Is that?
So that's the subject of much discussion right now because there are multiple owners there. And so what PSC is looking at is figuring out what the future of their energy supply will look like right now, because much of the base load is, a good portion of that base load is comes from there.
Is there a partnership with others?
It
that
is.
what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and on different, and we could sit down and chat offline about this if you'd like to talk more in depth, but
Sure.
because there's 4 different generators, different partnerships, and different stakeholders in those
Okay.
pieces, but that's what
Thank
PSC
you.
is trying to extract itself from.
And for me, just kind of restate your position and how long you've been there. And
Absolutely.
yep.
Yeah, so my position is local government affairs representative with Puget Sound Energy, and I have been there for almost 4 months, I think now.
I said that on purpose because welcome aboard. We're glad to have you around and
Thank
take
you.
us to the next level. Yeah.
Thanks.
You bet.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you. So the next person I have is Nick. Is it Nick Cockrell? Did I say that right? Hi, sir. How you doing there? Come on up. Tell us what you got.
Well, my name is Nick Cockrell. I've been a citizen, resident of Thurston County for about 35 years.
Okay.
And have been in the Rochester area for about 20 years. And so I'm here to talk about animal control issues. In particular, I'm sure all of you are aware of the seizure of some goats several months ago and the law enforcement issues that are related to that. And I want to tell you that I'm the president of the Washington State Livestock Coalition. We formed in 2009 as the Stockman's Coalition and changed our name to deal with some other issues. We were formed primarily in response to some problems that we saw with individuals having their animals seized without compensation or without process, and have formed ourselves to provide education, advocacy, and assistance to livestock owners. And over the number of years, we've provided a number of educational seminars and assisted individuals who didn't understand what their process was for having their animals returned to them and the difficulty basically in what they were being charged for. So I'm here to tell you that I've taken the prerogative of drafting some statements of support for livestock from the commissioner's standpoint, as well as some procedures that want you to consider for investigating these kinds of issues, and also to look at some changes to the county ordinance that has to do with animal control. Also want to offer the assistance of the Livestock Coalition in being one of the agencies that are provided under the state statute 1652 that can assist law enforcement. Each county has the opportunity of determining and appointing one or more agencies that can assist in this operation. I had talked previously with Sheriff John Snaza about the coalition assisting with some veterinarian charges and helping to make sure that the individuals whose livestock was being investigated were seen by and consulted with veterinarians. And want to suggest that there may also be an opportunity for the Farm Bureau to assist in this effort. So I have information here I want to leave with staff, and then a copy of newsletters we do put out occasionally on behalf of our activity, scholarships that we offer, and a number of other opportunities.
You just hand it to the county manager in the tie there, yeah?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Nick. You bet. All righty. Let's move us on to the next person. This is Mr. Dan Venable. Hello, Dan, my man. How you doing there?
Doing good. How are you
Good to
guys
see
doing?
you.
Wonderful.
I'm here to voice my opinion and support Nick Cockrell on what he just introduced to you, and give you kind of a for instance of the difference between some of the actions that have taken place in Lewis County and in Thurston County here on the same issue. I've been a member of the Livestock Coalition since it formed, and does a lot of good things. Gives out scholarships to kids, high school kids interested in agriculture every year, and they do all that with funds they raise from different fundraisers they do. About 3 years ago in Lewis County, I got a call from the Lewis County animal control officer, and he asked me if I could get involved and go down and take a look at some people's place that had an issue with some horses and some goats. So as a member of the Livestock Coalition, we went down and took that project on. I know that a couple of you up here are veterans, and I know that Thurston County is a big support of veterans, even have a Purple Heart County sign there. The individuals that were in question here with animal cruelty charges were both veterans, Vietnam veterans. Both had some issues from the Vietnam War. Their house had burnt down. They'd lost an adult child in a house fire. They were living in a tent, had been for a year. They had 25 horses and 50 goats and didn't know how to quit raising them. And they were spending almost all of their funds on feeding these animals. The Livestock Coalition went down there, and instead of just looking at a problem with animals, looked at a problem with humans and animals. And they took the initiative to get involved, removed all the animals from the place. The internet was going wild. The TV stations were going wild. They were all talking about shooting these people for, neglecting their horses and their goats and stuff like that. We found new homes for all our horses, their goats, did veterinarian work on what needed to be veterinarian work. And when we got done, we purchased a mobile home and had it moved to their property so they could get out of the tent. Those people today are living a much better life, much happier. Nobody got a felon charge. None of the items that are taking place right here in our county, a lot of the time on misjudgment. A lot of times the individuals that are making these calls are not really professionals. And so I support Nick and would like to see if we could take and get some kind of a workshop with the commissioners and present these ideas when we have enough time to go over all the details. So that's it.
You bet. Thank you so much for your words today, sir.
You bet.
You bet. Okay, so that is the final person I had for those who've signed up and on the paper here. Is there anybody in the audience that have changed their mind or has a desire to come to the podium and address the board? Seeing once, twice. Nope. Okay, we'll move on. So the next item we have is the county manager's update, and I'm going to ask the county manager to tell us what he got on his mind.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. I'd like to follow up on the public testimony that you received last Tuesday from Mr. Micah Anderson. And during his testimony, he delivered 2 sets of documents. And we follow up as to the nature of those documents. One was related to public records request. And we submitted those documents to the clerk's office. And as a result, the public records team from the prosecuting attorney's office are looking into that request, and they will be responding accordingly in a timely manner. The other set of documents was related to the auditor's office, and also included in those 2 documents was 2 checks. So we follow up with both the auditor's office as well as the prosecuting attorney, and their decision was, since there is apparently a pending case on this particular matter, Our prosecuting attorneys suggested that for us to send back the documents was the checks to the originator. We have completed that. And also, I'd like to make a point that the nature of those documents is perhaps outside of the jurisdiction of the Board of County Commissioners. So I perceive this matter has been concluded, and we have addressed the public testimony that you received last Tuesday.
Any questions for the county manager?
No, thank you.
Okay, so number 3 item on the agenda today is the consent items, and I'll ask if there's a motion to approve the consent items.
Mr. Chair, I move to approve consent items A through B.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve consent items A and B. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion carries. So the next item is number 4, department items. The first one is the Public Works, which is a contract award for safe routes to schools project at Lydia Hawk Elementary. And the cool man, Matt Unselman, is here to tell us about it.
Keep telling yourself that.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, County Commissioners. Matt Unselman, Civil Engineer, Thurston County Public Works. On August 31st, 2017, a total of 4 bids were opened for the Safe Route to Schools project near Lydia Hawk Elementary School. Public Works is requesting permission today from the Board of County Commissioners to award the contract to Roglins of Aberdeen for a contract amount of $637,000. The project will be paid for using $595,000 of federal funding, and the remainder will come from the county road fund. The project includes extending existing sidewalks, installing traffic calming, and providing lighting on popular walking routes used by students going to and from the Lydia Hawk Elementary School. Just to give some additional background on this project is actually the outcome of a collaborative effort, which was an on-site workshop between the Safe Kids of Thurston County, the North Thurston School District, the County Health Department, and Public Works as well.
All right. Any questions for Matt?
Nope.
Nope.
All right. Is there a motion?
I move to award the bid for the Safe Routes to School project, Lydia Hawk Elementary, CRP number 61493, to Roglin Incorporated of Aberdeen, Washington, in the amount of $637,474.50, and to authorize the Interim Director of Public Works to execute the contract and any change orders for this project due to unforeseen conditions only, not for change in scope, up to 20% of the contract, $127,495, or an aggregate amount of $764,970.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and so your motion carries, Matt.
Appreciate it.
You bet. Thank you, sir. The next department item we have is the Commissioner and County Manager's items, and it's waive the competitive bidding requirements. And Romero Chavez.
Thank you again, Commissioners. The matter before you, just to give you a matter of background, in January 2017, you waived the competitive bidding requirements of the county's procurement policy to secure the professional services with Jennifer Ziegler, Public Affairs Consultant. We signed a contract which expires September 30 of 2017, so here in a couple of weeks. So the purpose of this professional services, Jennifer and her team has provided a county advocacy before the legislature, and during the 2017, that particular investment has been very fruitful for the county. 2 weeks ago, we had a conversation with the commissioners, and we reassessed what the 2018 legislative session could include, and at that point, you decided to extend the contract that we have with Jennifer Ziegler, Public Affairs Consultant, to December 31st, 2018. So this particular action is for you to, again, to waive the bidding requirements and also to extend the contract with Jennifer Ziegler, Public Affairs Consultant, until December 31st, 2018.
Any questions of the County Manager?
No.
No questions, but I have a comment.
All right.
Jennifer and her band of renown has done a wonderful job, and I look forward to that, again, continuing.
I agree.
Yeah, me too. Is there a motion?
I move to waive the competitive bid requirement pursuant to Section 6-G of the procurement policy and extend the professional services contract with Jennifer Ziegler, Public Affairs Consulting, Inc., until December 31, 2018.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, and that motion carries. Thank you, sir. The next item we have is a memorandum of understanding between Thurston County and the City of Lacey related to the Lacey Veterans Service Hub. And I think Romero Chavez also has this.
Thank you, and Commissioners. Early in the year, the Board of County Commissioners made a decision to support the services the Lacey Veteran Services provides to the veterans here in the county and beyond. And to the extent that in the first quarter budget amendment, you authorized $60,000 to support this effort. This is a one-time investment. It's not any more than $60,000 at this point. And the intent of the $60,000 was to cover some of the costs associated with the lease where the hub, as we call it, is currently occupying. So this memorandum of understanding before you is just the instrument that we need with the City of Lacey in order for us to contribute those $60,000. And also within the MOU, we have agreed with the City of Lacey. They will reserve a place, a cubicle space, where the county staff who manages the veteran services will be co-located at the hub. And that way we'll streamline the services they provide to our veterans here in the county. And again, this is for your consideration, and this will just ratify some of the decisions that you have made in the past to support our veterans and the county.
Any questions?
No.
I have one question. Can you just tell a little bit more about the $60,000? I don't want it to be misleading. This just a contribution, cash donation, or anything. Can you kind of elaborate what the dollars are going for?
Yeah, the $60,000 is not a contribution. The MOU. It states that the county, through the $60,000, will cover the lease, cost of 2017 and 2018.
So 2 years.
For 2 years. That is correct.
Okay. You got it? Go ahead.
Can I say something?
Yeah. Sure.
I guess I'd like to point out to the veteran community out there that we up here at the county board are doing what we can do to give adequate service to the veterans in our community, because we wouldn't be here, we'd be speaking Japanese or German if it wasn't for our veterans and their service to our country.
Anything else? No. And I am particularly happy to see this. Has been a long time coming. So, all right. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'm honored and proud to move to approve a memorandum of understanding, MOU, between Thurston County and the City of Lacey to support the Lacey Veterans Services Hub, with a one-time county contribution of $60,000, and authorize the county manager to sign the MOU and any subsequent amendments.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded as stated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and that motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Chavez. So the next item we have is an opportunity for the commissioners to tell about some of their committee assignments or some of the things they've seen out in the general public, or just take a moment to make comment. So I'll ask Commissioner Edwards if he wishes to exercise. Is it right?
I guess rather than try to cover all the different activities that we attend to on a weekly basis, I would just say probably last week my activities were probably consumed with the Gopher situation and the Hearst situation. Both challenges that local government has to face, and I can tell you that we're doing what we can to reduce the burden to the Thurston County taxpayers.
How about you, Commissioner Hutchins?
Yes.
You got to bring it up on your calendar?
Yeah. There was something I wanted to see real quick if I could find it, but that's all right.
We got all day.
Aside from attending the Transportation Policy Board and ORCA and LOT, I also attended the NAMI, the National Alliance on Mental Illness. This last Friday, they had their state conference called The Challenge of Change, Promise of Progress in Mental Health. And it was full of law and justice folks, and I was honored to bring out the opening to Thurston County for us. It was held at the Hotel RL, but also sat on a panel for 90 minutes with forensic mental health professionals, book of who's who in mental health, and our Superior Court in different counties, and jail professionals as well. So it was well over 100 people, well attended, and an excellent conference. That's it.
Sure. For me, I spent a lot of time last week in the Thurston Thrives arena, and if you don't know it, Thurston Thrives is a public-private entity where we're directed most of our focus on community health. In particular, we have 8 teams. One team is the Housing Action Team, which I'm the chair of. We call it the HAT for short. And we did a lot of good work this last week in terms of going through the 5-year homeless and housing plan. It's still a work in progress, but there are assignments in there that we've reviewed and get ready to obviously assign out to certain entities within Thurston County, both private, nonprofit, and government. It's a well devised product, and we're looking forward to accomplishing these tasks. Some are simple, some are complicated, some are done in a month, some will take 2 or 3 years. But it's what we do as far as the Housing Action Team. Also, we went on TCTV and did a documentary relating to how the coordinated entry here is in Thurston County, and it is a 3-pronged approach, or 3-entry approach for single adults, male and female, for families, and then for youth. And so that takes care of that base population for those who become homeless or low income that needs assistance. We did a super grand job of explaining that on TCTV as far as the coordinated entry. And all in all, we have a great team there as far as the Housing Action Team. And I look forward more to telling you how the rest of the program is going to go for the rest of the year with the point in time count and some other things we're going to do next summer. So, yeah.
I'll add something when you're done.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We use acronyms all the time, and folks at home or even folks in the audience might not know what they mean. I said I attended the ORCA board. It's not about whales. It is the Olympic Region Clean Air Agency, and there are elected officials all the way from Clallam and Jefferson County all the way down to Thurston County, dealing with the issues of clean air and monitoring the air even around all the fires that we've had throughout the region, and 4th of July, all these types of things. Very important work, and it's very interesting. That's what ORCA is.
Yay. Anything else? No, good. So I'm going to turn to the county manager and talk about our schedule. For the county.
Let me walk you through to the upcoming schedule. The appointments are going to be mentioned to you are where at least 2 commissioners are present, and you may have individual appointments in your individual calendars. Those will not be mentioned this afternoon. Tomorrow, Wednesday, September 20th, 9 in the morning, you have a briefing on the Open Space Tax Program. 9:30, you have a briefing on the conservation futures and perhaps developing the next steps and how you can probably change or influence the criteria and the selection process for those projects. At 10 in the morning tomorrow, you also have a briefing on the revised stormwater vesting policy, and that is related to the Supreme Court decision. 10:30 tomorrow, you have a briefing from the Economic Development Council, and that is just an hour to give you a perspective, all the elements associated with economic development here in Thurston County. At noon, you have a joint lunch meeting with your elected officials here in the county, where a couple of items will be discussed as an open forum, as well as we'll provide an update on the budget. At 1:30 in the afternoon tomorrow, you will have a briefing from the state auditor's office, where they will give you a perspective as to the findings or not of the 2016 state auditor's process. We're very hopeful that no findings will be included in that report. At 2:30 in the afternoon, you will have a briefing on the 3rd quarter budget amendments. And you already visited that particular item 2-3 weeks ago. Tomorrow, Robin Campbell, the Assistant County Manager, will walk you through again some of the items that you may be considering on the 3rd quarter budget amendment. Thursday, September 21st, 8:30 in the morning, you have a a workshop related to the proposed information technology realignment to become their own department. Right now, the IT section, as we call it, is under the resources central services. And one of the proposals perhaps will be to create an IT department. And you will have asked all the offices in the department to participate. And hopefully we can get some feedback as to how you will see this moving forward in the future. Thursday, September 21st at 1 in the afternoon, Commissioner Hutchins and Commissioner Blake have the Thurston Mason Behavioral Health Organization Governing Board meeting. Nothing on September 22nd, nothing on September 25th, and we'll see you again next Tuesday, September 26th. Thank you.
Fantastic. Any last minute comments or anything?
Yes, I'm just wondering, with all the public works folks, the new employees still here, are you being punished or were you ordered to stick around to the end? I thought you would all
They're
left.
not going to answer you.
That's it.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I move to adjourn the meeting of September 19, 2017.
Second.
It's been moved and second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned.